Right. Good afternoon, people. So let's start the session since everyone is there in the room, I guess. So at least most of them. So let's start the things and carry out. So last time we discussed about operating system and the functionalities. So today we are going to carry out the rest of the lesson. Hopefully we will be able to finish it up, right? So at the end there are some practical session which you know already. So I just go through the things and let's clear up the things regarding the operating system. So last time we finished from the file management point. So those are the functions that are being carried out by the operating system. So operating system majorly do two separate works, which means the managing hardware of the computer and the providing the user interface. So those are the major tasks, and managing hardware and software in the computer. It is being divided into more specific areas. Actually for 6 separate areas like process management, memory management, device management, file management, security management, and network management. So far we have discussed process management, Nihal, yes, I will just send me the message through the WhatsApp, so I'll send you the link, Uda, right? So we discuss about process management, memory management, device management, and the file management. So we are left with the security management and the network management. So to recap the things, process management is basically trying to manage the processes, which is regarding the programs. So with the help of RAM and the hard disk and the processor, and the memory management is managing the memory and allocating it for the programs and deallocating once the program is done, and for which like how much of capacity there should be allocated for a specific program, and those things are managed by the operating system again. And regarding the device management, it's basically the input and output devices, and as well as the storage. So basically we are talking about the inputs and outputs. So once the input and outputs, when the input devices are given the signal, it is being collected by the operating system and managed with the control processing unit or the CPU, and responding accordingly with the specific output devices. So that is regarding the device management in the operating system. And finally, we talked about the file management system, file management by operating system, where we discuss the folder structure and the file system is given by the operating system. So last time I couldn't mention you, like there are different kinds of file systems inside the operating system. So if you really need to know what kind of a file system is there in your computer, you can just go to the specific file, and you can go for the properties, right? So yeah, just a second. Yeah, version is not now in the version is not now in the properties. So like for some example, there were a file system called FAT, file allocation table, which was the very first file system that they invented inside the Windows operating system. Later they advanced it to a version called NTFS, New Technology File System, So like those file systems allow the device or the computer to get to know what kind of files that it is being able to get stored, right? Hard disk එක මොන type එකේ එකෙන්ද files store කරලා තියාගන්නේ කියන එක, right? And file systems are giving many different advantages and benefits to the operating system, but here we are not going to talk about those very much. And now in activity 2, they are asking about these kind of file system. These are the file system that I was mentioning about, FAT16, FAT32, NTFS, and all these things. So those file system allow the user to create the folders and files and in that specific manner, right? So if I'm formatting any device which is connected to my computer, it will ask in which type of file format that you are going to in which kind of format that you are going to have this device formatted within it, right? So we have to choose whether it is going to be the FAT file system or the NTFS file system or any other file system that it is allowing us to choose, right? So nowadays we are working with the NTFS, new technology file system. So FAT and NTFS, it is to the Windows operating system. As this activity asks, ext4 and Racer FS. Let's see how in which operating systems that these things are there, right? So ext4. Yeah, so ext4, ext3, and ext2, the earlier versions, it is regarding the Linux operating system, right? Yeah, and yes, Mirul, that is correct. And they were mentioning about one another thing, Racer FS. I wonder whether it is in the iOS. Yeah, what this says is general purpose computer file system designed and implemented by a team at NEMSIS led by the Hans Racer. Yeah, again, it's for the Linux. It is currently supported for GNU and Linux. Let's see what's the file system of the Macintosh operating systems. Yeah, they are taking something called MFS. ext3 is for Mac. Okay, we'll see. Here they says it's MFS, and is there any more? Okay, Minul has sent us the link. Let's see what it is. Ah, yes, there are. So like MFS was the very first one. So APFS, Apple File System, and Yeah, Max OS. Let me see. So yeah, this is it's APFS, something called APFS. Yeah, it's like yeah, I think it's the APFS that they are using, right? Apple file system. So likewise, there are many different file systems in your operating system. So that file system is given by uh, the type of the file system is provided by the operating system. And without that particular file system, we won't be able to store the details into our hard disks, because when we are partitioning and formatting the hard disk or any storage device, we need to say which kind of a file system that it is going to use. Then only it will allow us to store the data on that particular format. And apart from that, creating these files and folders, specifically the folders, is given by the operating system. That facility is provided by the operating system. So we will be able to keep our files in a much categorized way, where it is very easier for us to access, or where it is very easier for us to when we are retrieving things, right? So file management is such. So using the file management, like there are some these are the services it's provided by the file management, like making new files, saving them at a suitable place, deleting unnecessary files, arranging the folders in order to delete the unnecessary folders. So likewise, it has a list. So just read it through and get to know how the what are the benefits, or like the features which is given in the file management by operating systems. So the very last one is the security management. Not the very last one, the one before. So the security management is basically done by providing username and password by the operating system, right? So at least the one which allows us to use username and password for the operating system. Otherwise, we won't be able to use it. Other than that, it gives us the ability to have the access privileges to the different kinds of files. So we can allow user categories to get to give the access to a specific file or a folder, and to prevent accessing a specific file or a folder, right? So that is what we call the access privileges. So about the username and password, you know about those, because when you are logging into your system, in most of the cases you may have asked a username and a password. So in nowadays, Microsoft has extended their username and password facility with the help of a PIN as well. So like in a way, we enter into a phone by providing a PIN. Operating system is also allowing to log in with it using a PIN. Just a second, people. කියන මං ක්ලාස් එක හම්දුරනේ ඉන්නේ කියන කතා කරේ නම් නෑ අප්පා කොයි කීයටද රැහැටද උදේද කොහොමද එහෙමද හරි හම්දුරනේ මං ඔළුවේ තියාගන්න කොහොමද හිස්කොලත් නැහැනේ ඔව් එහෙමද මට උදෙන් මේ ගන්න බැරි වෙයි සමහර විට කවුරුද පේන්නේ මුළු කට්ටියම එනවා ඒ කියන්නේ නේ හරි හම්දුරනේ මං හම්දුරන්ට කතා කරන්න කොහොමද කියලා මේ කිව්වර වෙලා හරි හම්දුරනේ හරි right. So so username and a password, it is already you are experienced, something that you have experienced already. So apart from that, so giving the access privileges. So access privileges are given in this manner. So I'll show you how the access privileges work. Yeah, excuse me for a second, people. I have to answer this. Okay, so let me show you the access privileges, how those things are happen. So if I create a new folder, let me create a new folder. So I'm going to create a new folder on my desktop, and I'm renaming it as test. So I can right click on this particular folder and can go for the properties. So in the properties window, there is something called security. So like in this security, so these are the groups that are given the ability, or like given the access privileges for the like showing the access privileges for users that this system is being used. So the system and administrator are the default users, and there is my account. Now, if I create another separate account to my operating system, user that particular name will be here. So then if you need to edit this, you can edit the access privileges. So like they are given the ability of allowing the things and denying the things. Right now, when it comes to the schools laboratories, we always having these applications for the student account, and we prevent some things from the student accounts, like specifically giving the like having the access to the Windows folder of the drive C, right? So in case if someone enters there and change something, the whole operating system goes down. So for that particular purpose, we are like preventing things from the student accounts as well. So doing such thing can be happen, or like can be done using this particular access permissions. So you can like deny the full control, right? Or like take out the like you can apply the deny part for a specific things. So like if you deny the right permission, you won't be able to edit that thing, right? So if you deny the modify, you won't be able to modify. That means read and execute, and everything will be taken out, right? So then what you have to do is to press the apply and press the OK button to have that application on a particular component. So you can do that for both folders as well as files. All right, so that is regarding the access privileges. So one particular groups will be given the access permission when the other particular group won't be given, or like will be denied, right? So the very same resource, some can access and some may not, right? Okay, so that is regarding the security management done by the operating system, right? So okay, people, so is it clear so far? Do you got any questions? Right. How about others? Right, great. Okay, then let's proceed. The next is about the network management, how the network management is done. So when it comes to the operating system, so it is like responsible, excuse me, it is responsible to manage the network connection and the network connectivity as well, right? So uh, your network connection can be in the wired or wireless manner. So regardless of wired or wireless, the devices will be communicated and devices will be managed by the operating system, right? So operating system helps to know what are the things which are being connected with the computer and how they are being connected and what are the facilities of those things and how the data communication should happen, right? And how those things can be managed to give uh, the maximum productivity out of that network, right? So it is the operating system who detects things. So now in nowadays most of the computer facilities or like the places where they use networks, they use wireless connection, specifically when you are connecting with a printer, because you don't need to lay down a lot of wires and all these things. Just a router is the requirement to have the connection to like 20 to 30 devices, right? So like that the particular devices which are being connected with the computer is managed by the operating system. It shows what are the connections and what are the things that we can do, right? So now we are if you are having a new device to your network, that particular device can be discovered by the operating system using its device add-in utilities, right? Let me show you how a device can be added in a network. So like if I go to add a printer or a scanner one, so like computer so far, so like if I need to add a device or a scan, so I can press that thing and it will search for the devices. And basically when it is searching right? And if I go for this particular option, the printer that I was uh, isn't listed, so it will give me the uh, some options in there. There is option called add Bluetooth, wireless or network discoverable printer. So if you get this option, it will show me what are the printers or the devices which are within in my network, that devices which are connected to my connecting device. In my case, it's my router, right? And it will show me the new devices, not the existing devices, the new devices which have been connected, if there are any, right? So in that case, you can select that device. If it is listed over here, then you can proceed it to the communication, right? So in my case, my operating system won't be able to find anything new in my network because I have already connected those things. So that's how the network is managed by the operating system, right? So when it comes to the large scale companies, this system will become much more helping for that company, and always and in the very same time it's going to be something very complex when the number of hosts or the number of devices are going to be increased in your network. But still, to have a facility something like that, it's the operating system that manages that network to have the most of the benefits out of that devices, right? Okay, so yeah, Minul, yeah, the OneDrive is going to be a cloud computing one, so something like Google Drive as well. So those things also being managed by the operating system. So it is the that is what is said by the last line of your note, as it says, like the cloud computing. The concept is well demonstrated by the cloud computing, right? So it is always connected with the cloud and being synced from cloud and to cloud with the things that we have given the permission. Right. So from that point, uh, like the very one of the major purposes of the operating system, which we call the managing hardware, is done. So next is the managing software, which is something related to the practical parts, which you already know, right? So I'm going to go through of those things. So before that, if you got any question, you can ask. And I want you to mark the things which are being which you have to copy for your books regarding this, right? So I think I haven't said what to be written regarding this particular heading. As I remember, I have given the things up to this point, ask you to take those things down. So have everyone completed your notes from the last week I told you? Yes, you can respond me. Oh, right. Okay, Saran. Good. Right. So by next week, I will be asking for the photos, how you have maintained your note. I need to see those things. So if you haven't completed the
Yeah, I
things, it's
wrote
better
only the
you complete the
important
things
points.
by this week, right? And send me the photos of the notes, right? How you have taken those down, right? Okay, so under this particular topic, services of an operating system, so you better write the very first topic. Minul, you can't decide what are the important points are. I have asked you to like highlight the things and get those things into your notebook. So you have to take those. Yeah, yeah. So you have to take what you have said, what I have said to you, right? Okay, good. So regarding the services of an operating system, let me check. Yeah, you have to copy this particular line. There are two main services performed by the operating system, and they are, and these two factors: managing hardware of a computer, providing the user interface, right? And then you can jump to the very first one. So the process management, and it's better you write these things as well. Like under the managing the hardware of a computer, you write this particular 6 points, right? Process management, memory management, device management, and list those things down. So you can see that these kind of processes, or like this kind of maintenance or management, is done by the operating system under the hardware management of a computer, right? So later you have to write down the things regarding each and every topic. So for process management, let me see what to be written. Yeah, so you have to write down these things, carefully mark these things, right? So the first point, hold on a second. Yeah, you can start from here, from this particular point. We can call running computer program or part of the program as a process. All the activities in the computer run as either single process or multiple processes. So, and this particular para as well, right? Resource management activities such as allocation CPU time, allocation of memory, and allocation of input-output devices of each process are managed under the resource management of operating system. So those particular things should be there. Other than that, yeah, that will be enough regarding the process management, right? So these two paragraph should be there, right? So because the rest is about some explanation, so you have the points within these two paras, right? And memory management, regarding the memory management, yeah, you can start it from here. Yeah, copy down the things which is starting from here. Memory management process, make sure the enough memory is allocated for each process, and it also makes sure that the memory is freed once the particular process ends, right? And for that, yeah, and this particular sentence, operating system employs various techniques to memory management. And we must keep in mind the operating system utilize both primary memory and the secondary memory efficiently in order to manage the memory for various processes. Yeah, that will be enough. So like starting from here, memory management process, and up to this point, right? So the very last line, these three, and this particular paragraph. And regarding the device management, device controllers are used to control the peripheral devices, whereas device drivers are used to control software components, right? And this particular one, there are devices which works once they are connected, which is called the plug and play. The relevant device drivers are installed automatically once the device is connected to the computer for the first time. right? So this particular thing which is being highlighted on the screen, before that you have to write this particular thing. Device controllers are used to control the peripheral devices, whereas device drivers are used to control software components, right? That is regarding the the device management. And regarding the file management, you have to say the operating system to manage the files and folders, and you have to list out the things. Some of the services provided by the operating system in file management are listed below, right? So those should be there. And as well as the very last line, file and folder management includes handling the properties, file operations, file access, and file systems, right? So for that particular topic, it is the almost the all the note under the file management, right? And regarding the security management, for security management, copy the entire thing. There are 2 paragraphs, so just copy it down, right? So the entire para, right? And the network management, starting from the 2nd paragraph, the operating system also helps in accessing one computer from a remote computer, and continue it up to the very last point of that para. So the 2nd paragraph entirely should be copied to the network under network management subtopic. That will be all. Okay, did you got those clearly? Right. Okay, so you should complete your note. I'm going to I need the photos of your notes by next week on the on our WhatsApp group. So remember, so I'm going to search whether everyone is going to send me the copies of the things what you have done, right? Copies means the photos, right? So let's see. Okay, so I'm going to continue with the providing user-friendly interface. Now, when it comes to the user-friendly interface, first they are talking about the types of interfaces which are being used so far. So there are 2 types, which is called the CLI and the GUI. CLI means the command line interface. GUI is the graphical user interface. So command line interface was the very first interface that was invented by the Microsoft company, where they use to operate the device by giving the commands and getting things executed according to the given command, right? So it was an operating system in back those days, but when it comes to nowadays, it's just an application inside our computer. So if I type CMD, my command prompt is there. So from here, I can access to anywhere of my computer, but you should have the knowledge how we are going to access that. So now it says I am inside the C drive user. There is a folder called users, and there is something called user. So like if I went to my C drive, I wonder you can see these things since it is a, so inside C there is a folder called users, and inside user, so this is the content of the user folder. So like if I need to see the content inside this folder, I can type the command called dir and press enter. So it will show me what are the things inside this. So dir stand for directories or folders, and they say what are the things inside that. So like 3D objects, contacts, desktop, documents, download, favorites, all these things are listed here. And they have listed some other files as well. I think which are the things which we considered as the system files. So starting from the 3D objects, it's going to show you what are the content inside this particular. Yeah, so like Minol type in tree will give you the things which are inside the entire system, as I remember. Right, so yeah, so likewise you can have these things. So let's try the tree. Right, see, so it shows you what are the things inside this, inside the C drive, right? And like if you need to change the directory, you can use cd, change in directory. And if you say the name of the directory, you can enter into it. Now, if I say, if I need to move into the music directory, so I can say cd music. So the address changed, c user/music. Now I'm inside the music folder. So inside my music folder, there is nothing inside it. So now if I need to come before, you don't need to remember these things. I'm just showing you that there are things like this, right? So if you need to change the directory to the backwards, you can choose cd/, as I remember. Let's see whether it's working. Yeah, yes, cd/ will bring you to the very first one, which we call the root directory, right? So like let's change the users. Let's change the user again, right? There is something called cd double dot. Let me see. Yeah, cd double dot will change you the directory upwards, like one step upward will be taken again in a folder again. If I type cd double dot again, I'm going to stop at the root. If I type cd double dot again, it won't change because it's the top. It's the most top place that I can go, right inside the C drive. So likewise, this was the computer as the very first era of the operating system. And we have to remember the commands and all these things to work with this, right? So this is called the CLI, command line interface. So later they introduce us something called GUI, which is the graphical user interface. The things that we are seeing today on any device is called the graphical user interface, right? So we can see graphics and all these things inside the on the GUI. So when it comes to the GUI, they say there are like components or the categories in the WIMP concept, WIMP concept. So W stands for window, I stands for icon, M stands for menus, and P stands for pointer, right? So it is the WIMP concepts that they are using inside the GUI, right? Before I move to the GUI screen, I need you to take the concentration for these particular points on your diagram. So this can be given in your examination and may ask you to fill the blanks or like say what are those, right? So the very last thing that we are typing is the command. So once we type something and press enter, the things we are getting is the output. So the blinking one, this little dash is called the cursor, and the angle bracket is called the command prompt, right? So you better remember the components, right? I'm not going to give you the notes regarding these since these are practical. So you better refer the books and do the practicals as much as you can, right? It's an interface. As I told you, it is under the Vim stand. So like when you go to the next page, you can see what are the components that you can see inside the graphical user interface. So you can have the window, you can have the menu, you can see the pointer, the mouse pointer, and you can see the icons, right? So remember what Vim is: windows, icons, menu, and pointer. Okay, and the utility programs in an operating system, they have said, so here they have listed many kinds of utility programs. As we discussed before, the utility programs are one of the category, or like one of the types which is under the system software. So system software uh, divided things into three different categories, which is called the application software and the utility software and the language translators we discuss. So regarding the utility softwares, as I told you, those are the softwares which help us to do day-to-day works. That means which help us to do the things using the application programs, or like the application softwares, and they are doing their job staying at the background, or like staying at the backside of the operating system. So here they have listed many different types of utility softwares, like backup softwares, disk scanners, disk defragmentation, file data compression, task managers, right? System dialog tools, antivirus softwares. So it's better you remember these things, right? Okay, I think regarding this particular place as well, we better write something out, right? So please note these things and copy these things into your book. Under the providing user-friendly interface, right? It's better you write these things. Yeah, you have to say there are two types of interfaces provided by the operating system. So this particular line plus these two categories, right? So like CLI and GUI. So regarding the CLI, command line interface, yeah, so yeah, if you can take a printout of a CMD, it's better you paste it on your book. Otherwise, just say these things. This particular one particular para, right? So say those things. So that will be enough for the CLI. Regarding the GUI, graphical user interface, write down these points. Yeah, this is important. GUI provides the ability to use the mouse or fingertips to navigate the commands. Right, and other than that, yeah, you better say this as well. This particular, starting from here and list down what is Vim is. Right, so mark it as well. Right, then after, let's go the utility programs as well. The utility programs in an operating system mark the topic, and regarding yes, now yeah, write this particular line. Many utility programs are available, and that particular line only, that sentence only. Then after, you have to list down this list. There can be many types of utility programs in an operating system, so list it down. Right, and later they are going to talk about 3 different utility programs, which are called the disk partitioning, disk formatting, and defragmentation. Right, people, have you noted down, have you marked the things in your textbook? Okay, Saran, how about others? All right, okay. All right, so regarding the disk partitioning, now the story is something like this. Like when you are purchasing a very new, fresh hard disk from the market, you cannot store the things straight away inside it, right? Regardless of the external or internal. Now most of the external devices are pre-formatted. That means you can take and use. But earlier, when you have purchased a fresh disk from the market, there are 2 things that you have to do. First thing is you have to partition the disk. The next thing is you have to format each and every partition. So, you know, hard disk is a one particular thing, one particular component. And, but when we go for the, when we go to see the things inside our hard disk or inside the system, you can see it is indicating 2 different volumes, or like the partitions. We call these things partitions. So these 2 are these 2 is the collection of our storage data, or these 2 represent the entire storage, the hard disk, but it is been logically divided into 2 separate points, 2 separate parts, right? So they are given some names as well. So basically the very first drive for a very first letter for the drive is C that they are using. So from C, accordingly, they are going to use it for the devices which have been connected to this computer. So if you connect another, if you do another partition, it's going to name as D. Saran, yes, we can add another volume in different methods, but you have to do it in a very careful manner. Hard disk connect karot, it's going to be a new volume anyway. Like for an existing hard disk, if you are going to choose a new volume, or if you are going to have another new volume, you can use a utility program called disk management. Right, so the disk management will show you the things inside your, like the way it has been separated, or the or to allocated. So like they have reserved some space for the system. We can't see those things, but we can see how C and D works. So it's better you not to touch the C drive because the system is there. If you need to divide this D drive into two parts, be careful when you are doing this, and please have a backup of your data, because in case if you lost those things, you should be able to recover those. So you can right click and you can use this shrink volume option, right? So once you use the shrink volume, it will calculate how much of your hard disk can be shrink. Shrink කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ කැලි වලට කඩනවා කියන එක. Right now, the total size of the disk, or like the volume, is shown as like this 102 gigabytes, and here they are showing it in MBs, and the size available for shrinking is 77 gigabytes. So either you can shrink the entire thing, or you can choose any size like below 77,806 MB to have as a new volume, right? So then you can press the shrink and proceed in the manner that they are asking. Like they will ask to choose the letter for the volume and some very simple instructions to create that shrink volume. So later, once you're done with it, with that, you can close it and refresh it. Then you can see the things see the new volume that you have created. Like just creating a new volume will not allow you to store the data inside it. You have to format that volume, right? So that is the next important part that you have to do to your new volumes or to your new hard disk. So you first partition it logically, then you have to format it. Then only you will be able to store the data inside it, because until it is being formatted, hard disk cannot understand what kind of files are going to be stored inside it, right? So once it is formatted, it is being said, these are the file types that you are going to use, so this is the capacity that you have, so you manage it, right? So otherwise, just by doing the partitioning won't be allowing you to store the data inside it, because it does not know about the file system. Right, so that is how the disk partitioning and disk formatting is done. So here what they have shown you in the page number 145, how is the new drive and how is the partition drive is. So once you partition it, you can see the different kinds of letters for your for the each partition, right? And then you have to format it, right? So formatting will let the hard disk know, or the volume know, what kind of a file types that it can take or it can consist, right? So as this says, like these are the reasons for the partitioning. When we need to save different items in different places, when we need to have more than one operating system in the same machine to meet the requirement of the operating system. So like examples are given. So just go through, right? We have discussed enough regarding that. And so once you do the partitioning, you can see how the how it is being divided logically into the parts inside the hard disk. So then it will get formatted. Once it is formatted, as this illustration shows you, so at the middle it is the after partitioning one. So the previous one was without the partitioning. So just having the partitioning won't be able to store the data, so it has to be formatted. So the next one is the formatting part, right? So after formatting, there are many places for you to store the data. Partition, sorry, format කරයින් පස්සේ ඔයගලන්ට පේන මෙන්න මේ පුංචි පුංචි කොටු වලට අපි කියනවා block එකක්, එහෙමත් නැත්නම් cluster. No, not the cluster. We are saying it is as a block. There is another name. I really don't get it into my mind now. Right? Let me know. A sector එකක් කියලා, right? So once you like categorize or like group things in a particular manner, that is we called a cluster. එතකොට මේ hard disk එකේ තියෙන කොටස් අපි කොටස් වලට වෙන් කරගන්නවා. ඒකට අපි කියනවා cluster එකක් කියලා. Right? So remember the formatting and partitioning part in this manner. So when a fresh disk is there, nothing can be installed into it. So you have to partition it first, then each and every partition should be formatted later, right? So those things can be available, or like the file system is giving the users the ability then after to store the data inside it, right? Okay, people, before I move into the defragmentation, is it clear? Yes, people. So I know some may feel a little bit sleepy when we are like talking like this. Right now, from after this topic, we don't have anything to talk, only the practicing part or the practical part. So we just pass the like the defragmentation concept. Yeah, how about the others, people? Is that clear for you? Do you need me to clear it again? Yes, Sinura. I'm going to tell that, right? So under the disk partitioning, yeah, so the very first para should be written, right? So like starting from what is partitioning and to this disk partitioning word. So you have to copy that. And from the latter part, yeah, and I couldn't mention this. If you format or if you partition a disk which have already been partitioned, all the data inside it is going to lost, or like it's going to erased, right? So it's better you keep the necessary backups before you do the partitioning and formatting part, right? Yeah, and you better draw this diagram on your book after that paragraph. And regarding why do we need partitioning, it's better you write these 3 points. Right, and yeah, copy this particular one as well. However, in Linux environment, all the partitions, multimedia drivers, flash drives, etc. would be identified as individual folders. Right, so it is something little bit closer to do the things like to do the things in the general way, right? So it's the user is going to see the specific partition as a folder, right? And under the this format in topic, it's better you say, what is this? Right, the very first one, a hard disk cannot be used once partition is completed. We need to format each of the drives individually. And yeah, you better write this. The USB flash drives come pre-formatted, so they can be put into use directly. Yes, and yeah, so then you can draw this diagram as well. This particular diagram. And moving to the defragmentation. So like defragmentation means we are having, when we are storing the data are being stored inside the hard disk in a scattered manner. විසිරිලා පැතිරිලා තැන් තැන් වල ස්ටෝර් වෙලා තිබීම තමයි අපි fragmentation කියලා කියන්නේ. Right? So the solution for the fragmentation is called the defragmentation. So defragmentation is a utility program where we are having a messy hard disk or messy volume with us. We can do the defragmentation. Otherwise, some of the hard disk are giving the error messages that it cannot store the things even though they are having the sufficient storage inside the hard disk. It is because of the this fragmentation and not being defragmented, right? So like fragmenting means like in the general idea, it is been all over the place. So when the defragmentation is done, the free space is allocated to one specific place, and others will get connected and will have the ability to access those data in a faster manner than before, right? Because the data is arranged to a one particular way, and what you call the unused space or the free space is collected to a one particular place, so they can have the ability and the chance to see how the things are, like the how they are able to store a new file inside it, right? So what you have to remember is fragmented means the things are being scattered everywhere, and defragmented means those things are being arranged to two different places which are being like which has the free storage and which are being used. Right, so defragmentation is as such, so it is the solution for the fragmentation, right? Is it clear so far, people? Yes, everyone? Sanduni says it is clear. How about the others? Do I need you to explain it again? Right. So going forward, before I continue, it's better you write down the things which are regarding the defragmentation. So under the topic defragmentation, yeah, write this one. Started from sometimes may not be, sometimes a file may not be stored in a single track in the hard disk. This process where a single file is broken into different pieces and stored in different parts on the disk is called fragmentation. So use that. In the second paragraph, no, nothing in the second paragraph, and it's better you draw the diagram. As you can see, there is a hard disk and some parts are being scattered. And it's better you say the effects of the fragmentation. It takes longer time to read a file when a file is defragmented and saved in different places in the disk. It affects efficiency of computer. Hold on. There is something to cite. Yes. That is something very suspected too. Yeah. In the third paragraph, the paragraph means like the second paragraph after the picture. This should be corrected. It takes longer time to read file when file is fragmented, not defragmented. File is fragmented and saved in different places in the disk. It affects efficiency of the computer. Yeah, so you have to copy that one as well. And the line before the picture. Disk fragmentation is the process of rearranging the fragmented data on a volume, such as hard disk or storage devices. It will work more efficiently. Yeah, that will be much good to write. Yeah, the latter part is about why Linux is not having the defragmentation defragmentation utility. It is because now Linux is tend to delete things which are not being used, and it is having the mechanism of arranging things by themselves. So it doesn't need any utility software to mark the things for them, right? Yeah, then the file system is to get introduced. So did you got all the points that I told you? Please mark those things or like write those things on the textbook. So I need to see how it happens. Okay, so moving forward, it is the very last part, which is the practical part. And again, these things that you know, right? So they are talking about, they are giving an introduction to the file system. So yes, and using the file extension, like when there are like many like NTFS, FAT, ext03, likewise. So you, by visiting the properties window, you can see what are the things that are related with these files, right? Okay, so the very first point that they are talking about is the file extension, finding the file extension. So like when it comes to a file, it has two different things, which means the file name and the extension. Right now, if I right click on this particular place and go to new, and if I get the like, if I get a new file, let's say Word file, so I can give a name to this. I'm going to give you a test, and this .docx is the file type. So it is the file type of the of the Word document. So you have to remember there are two things inside the file name, which calls the name, and after the dot there is going to be the extension, right? So file name and extension is there. So when you are creating a thing, like if you cannot see these things in your computer, so according to the Windows 10, it's a very simple thing that you need have to do. All you have to do is go to the View tab and put the tick in front of this particular phrase, file name extension. So if you put the tick, you will be able to see the file name extension. All right. And if you don't want to see it, again, you can go for the view and take out that tick with the file name. All right. So like file name extension. Now, when it comes to the PDF, so these are the PDF files. So here you can't see any extensions, just the name. So if I view and if I say file name extension, so now you can see the file name extension as well. So remember, there are two major types to a file, which is called the file name and the extension, right? So extension happens due to the program which creates that file. And remember, for a folder, there is no any file extensions. It's just the name to a folder, right? Folder will not be having any extensions. In case if you can see there is an extension, most of the cases it's going to be a virus, right? Because folders does not contain a file extensions, right? Okay, so other than that, this is the old way. In your textbook, they have described the old way of handling the file extension. So I can show you the same thing as well. So in there, they are talking about, let's see, are they talking about by visiting the control panel? Yeah, they say start control panel. So once you take the control panel, they're asking you to go for the folder options. This is yeah, I think it is being said as file explorer option, I think. So in Windows 10 it is a little bit difficult. So yeah, once you click it, the same window appears. In there, the view tab, and in this list, you can see after these two radio buttons, it says hide extension for non-file types, right? So the tick in front of is not there. And if you put the tick, it's going to hide your extension. If the tick is out, you can see the extension. Now, if you are working with the internet most of the time, it's better you have the extension, because when a virus, when the virus trying to apply to your computer, one way of using that is, one way of recognizing that is that can handle the things by searching for the extension. Because I remember the way we got the exe virus. There was a virus called exe virus. So it is created as a folder inside your device. So once we double click it, the virus spreads. So like in that manner, what they have done was, they have the virus creator creates the virus with the appearance of a folder. But if you search for the extension, that particular folder is having an extension called exe, which means the executable one, right? So later it was the technique that they recognize whether it is a folder or not by using the extension of that particular thing. So it's better you have the extension shown to you. One important point is it is easy for you to recognize whether it is a application or just a folder. If it is an application, in most of the cases, if it is an executable file, right, now you have to excuse me. So that is working now. So Tati will come.
Let's go. Let's go.
Yeah? Within 5 minutes, Tati is going to come. Right. So it's better you have the extension on your computer, so you can recognize what's the file type is as well. Now the file types that we are using in our syllabus is the Word, and the extension is docx, and earlier version had the extension called doc. And for the presentation softwares, for the PowerPoint, we are having the pptx, and earlier version was ppt, that is for the PowerPoint files. And for the database files, which is Due2Learn, and once you save it, yes, it is being saved with the extension of ACCDB, right? So to indicate access database, right? If it is in the earlier version, which is in between 2002 and 2003, it's the MDB, right? So it's better you know about these extensions, since those files are being used with your practicals, right? So, and for the images, there are extension type like JPG, PNG, GIF, right? Those kinds of things, right? So it's better you know about those extensions as well. So how we are going to take the property window, right click on the file or a folder and goes for the properties, and your property window is there. So in your property window, there are many different things that you can recognize: the name of the file, extension of the file, and the particular program that that file is going to execute, and the place or the location, and the date which is being created, and the date which is being modified, and the date which has the last access. Right, so those kind of things will be there in the properties window, as well as security details and the details regarding some additional details and previous versions, right? So those will be there. Okay, so that is regarding the file and the file extension, right? So here in your book, they have shown you some extensions as well, right? So it's better you remember. And the most importantly, file name and the extension is separated by a dot. That is a must, right? So like you can always see the name of your file dot the extension. If it is a MS Word file, your name dot docx will be there, right? So likewise, they have given some extensions as well, right? As well as they have talked about the properties window as we talked. So there are things that you can get to know from that particular window, right? Which is the properties window, right? And when you are selecting things to be saved, now this is a simple thing that you may know, but it's better I tell you, right? So when you are saving things, when you're creating files in your computer, there are many different ways of doing it, right? When it comes to the desktop, you can just right click and create the new folders and files from the new menu on the right click menu, right? But the folders and the shortcuts can be created by right clicking in any place, and the programs are some specific programs given by the operating system. Not all the programs are listed here. So either you can create a file from this straight away for these specific programs. Now if I create an Excel file, it's going to give me with the XLSX extension, so I can type the name that I need. So Excel file will get created. But if you need to create the Pascal file, which is in your syllabus in the grade 11, so you have to open the specific folder, then you have to save it. Like open the specific application, then you have to save a new file of it. Like we saving something from Word as well, right? So if we execute the Word, and if we need to save a particular thing that we have done, so we go to the file and we can choose to save. Otherwise, this particular save button will do the same things for us. So like file and save. So once it is done, it will give us the window something like this, the newer versions. Older versions will give you a window like this, straight away the save as window. So in the save as window, you will be able to see the places of your computer at your left hand side, right? So it's something like it's not something like it's the file explorer that you can see there. So you can choose the specific place and can be asked to save on this particular place. So like if I need to save it on the desktop will be chosen. And if I need to save it inside the test folder on the desktop, so I can double click and open the test folder. Then I can give any name I need. Then the file type can be chosen. Right now, that is a facility given by the application program. So in this case, from the Word. So you can save it as a Word document. You can save it as an older version of Word document by choosing this Word 97 2003. And you can save it as a PDF document. And there are some more versions as well. So you choose the file type and give a proper name, and you can hit the save button, right? So it will get saved. So once it is saved, you can close the thing, and later you can open it from the where it has been saved, and you can do the modification that you want. And then you have to save it again, and they won't ask from you for the place because it has been saved once. So the editing part or the updations will be saved to the same location, right? You are not getting the save as window each and every time that you are going to save. It's the very first time only. But some are having the practice of doing it, like go for this particular place and go for the save as again. That's unnecessary, because if you saved it once, any changes that you are making is going to save onto that once you press the save button. If you really need a copy or if you need to save a copy of this document in another name, or if you need to save this document in another format, then you can choose the file and the save as window. So like save as window is the very same window that you are going to take, and you can browse for a place and you can give a different name, right? Let's say test2, and you can save it. If you need to save this as a PDF file, so you can give a different name and set a file type and save it. So it will be saved in a different file format. So this is the PDF document. I have said saved. This is the Word document. So that is why we use the save as button, right? Yeah, Minul, autosave is happens within the application. Some are having the autosave facility and some are not, right? But as a practice, the Office package is having it by default now. So in case if we lose the or like if we accidentally close the program without saving, Office package is allowing us to recover it by using their autosave versions. But it happens periodically. ඒක word හිතන වෙලාවට තමයි යා save කරගන්නේ. And again, in case if we are not saving continuously, right? Okay, people. So that is how the file name and the extension and the saving files is going to happen. And you can see the drivers, and if you need to save it in the external device, you have to connect it to this particular pen or CD or something onto your particular drive. Then you have to save it. So for a pen drive, we can directly send it like we are saving on a hard disk. But if you are going to save it to a CD or a DVD, you have to burn it using the using a burning software. Burning is not the literal burning, right? So you have to use a CD-ROM and a burning software like Nero to like burn the things that you need onto the disk, right? අපි එක burn කරනවා කියලා කියන්නේ the writing part for a CD is happening using a laser beam optical line by burning the CD surface. අපිට ඒක burn කරාම තමයි ඒකේ අර තිලිසෙන ගතිය අපිට හොයාගන්න බැරි වෙන්නේ. අපි CD එකක් write කළාද නැද්ද කියලා හොයාගන්න පුළුවන් CD එකේ surface එකේ තියෙන දිලිසෙන ගතිය අඩු වැඩි කමෙන්, right? මොකද fresh CD එකක් මතු පිට හරියට කණ්ණාඩියක් වගේ. We can see it very clearly. Once we burn it with the data, that particular quality is degraded, right? ටිකක් ඒක අඩු වෙනවා quality එක, right? And the other things I know you know already, right? Creating a folder. It's a simple thing. You can right click and create a folder anywhere you want. And when you are visiting to a window, if you are opening a window, there are many other options as well. Like in the home menu, they are having the new folder icon here. So once you click it, you can create a new folder, as well as they have given a shortcut, quick shortcut in here. So you can click it and create the new folder, or else you can press the Control Shift and N together to create a new folder. So there are many ways of doing that, right? And the others are copying and pasting, which you already know, right? You can right click on the folder and copy it, right? You can you can select the thing, and using the Control and C commands, you can copy, right? Pressing the CTRL and C button together, right? Or else you can right click and copy, right? Or else you can select the particular folder and go to the home, and here you have something called copy, right? So you can copy it from anywhere, any method you want. And if you need to paste it, you can't paste it to the very same location, because duplicate names is not allowed for the very same application. එකම application එකට එකම නම තියෙන කට්ටිය එකම තැන save කරන්න බෑ. But you can have the same name for different files, different kinds of files, right? So if you need to paste it, you can go for another place. You can right click and paste it, right? Or you can press Control and V. So you will be able to paste that, right? If I delete this, Control V is pasting it, right? Or else you can do the pasting part, visiting the home tab and using this paste. So if you click it, it will paste again, right? So those are the stuff that you need to know regarding the operating system shortcuts. So it's better you remember the shortcuts. For copying, it is Control C. For pasting, it is Control V. To creating a new folder, it is Control key plus Shift plus N key, right? And there is another thing called cut and paste, right? So you can cut the things by pressing Control X, right? So if I need to move this file into the folder 2, you can simply click it and get and drag there. So it will get cut and paste inside this, right? So once you yeah, so it is saying it cannot be moved because it is open in some other program. So I'm going to close this test program. So I'm asked to try again, so it will get moved. So it is taken from the original place and pasted to the specific place. So we call it cut and place. Otherwise, you can select this and you can press the Control and X to get cut. So once it is cut, your the appearance or like the contrast of the icon will get a little bit degraded. Then you can open a specific place you want. Then you can do the pasting, right? So it will get paste. And again, it says it's opening from another program. So I'll close it and try it again. So it will get paste. So to cut it, Control X will be used. To paste it, Control V is used, right? So the very last things, I know the time has passed. So why I'm taking this time, it's the end of the lesson. That's why I'm taking. It's like renaming and deleting the folders. You know how to do that, right? So if I need to rename this, I can right click and choose the rename. So it is the name will be highlighted and I can type whatever I want. And you can do it in this particular way as well. You can select the file and by pressing F2, right? And it allows me to rename it again. And otherwise you can select the file once and you can click on the name again. Then it will allow me to rename it again. And if you need to delete anything, you can just press the delete button. So once you press the delete button, it will be moved to the place called recycle bin. So recycle bin, my recycle bin is full of things. So you won't be able to see the things which I have deleted recently. Let me sort it according to the date deleted. Yeah, so this is the file that I have deleted. So if you need to restore it, you can right click and restore. So that will be get restored to the place where I have deleted. Now I have deleted the file from here. So if I right click and restore it, so it will get restored, right? And if you delete something from recycle bin, it's going to delete forever, right? So it will say, are you sure you want to permanently delete this file? So if I say yes, so that particular file will get deleted forever. I won't be able to restore it again. And if I need to delete something without sending to the recycle bin permanently, so I can select the file, I can press the shift key and the delete key together. Then it will be asking the very same message regarding the file that I'm going to delete. So if I say yes, it's not going to move to the recycle bin, but will get deleted permanently. So those are the things that you need to know regarding the operating system, which you already practiced, right? So we are done with the operating system lesson. So please finish your notes right? I need to see how those things have been completed, right? So I need the photos. So it's better you send me the photos by next week. And thank you very much for today's session, and thank you for staying with me. So like people, I'm going to meet you by next week. Thank you very much to participate in again, right? We'll meet next time and we'll continue with the new lesson, right? Thank you very much, people. Have a nice weekend. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Buddha. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, Dua. Thank you. Wait, Tati is going to finish this now, right?